Hello and welcome to the Fit and Fabulous podcast with your co-host Greg Theron.
And Gillian Davis. How is everyone this week?
Awesome.
The weeks are flying by.
I can't believe it's nearly August as we record this. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, just when we thought we weren't going to get out of lockdown or through lockdown.
We're starting to come out of it.
Yeah.
We're in this semi-lockdown thing, I think. It's a bit weird. I just had a couple of clients earlier and they were like, we're in lockdown, but we're not in lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go back at any time. It's a bit of a weird situation.
Yeah. I had that feeling the other day. It's kind of like everyone's on the cusp of just, can we not just get on with it now and just kind of get back to normal? I think September, I think.
Yeah, I think it's...
I think, now everyone's kind of, well, it's summer, it's August. Wait till September and it'll just be
back in
business. Yeah.
I think we'll be back into lockdown, I think. But hey, I'm not going to put money on it, but obviously there are places around the world that are going back into lockdown and stuff.
Yeah. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today, is it?
Actually, I think there's a really good parallel we've just drawn from that. Right? It's that classic of all in, all out. So we're either in lockdown or out of lockdown. There's a little parallel. But yeah, I think, let's intro what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, so just what we experience as coaches when we're working with women is that there's a typical trend that we see, and it's perfectly normal. Now it's even it's human behavior, isn't it? It just happens whenever we're trying to change something in our lives. We're trying to create basically a new identity, a new life in some way, and that may sound huge and big, but that's what you're essentially doing to try and create some change. And we tend to see that it gets to a point where we're not seeing the results that we want. We feel like we're putting every ounce of effort into our endeavors, the change that we want, but yet we ain't getting there. What's going on? What's happening with that? So we're going to talk on that one today, aren't we, Greg?
Yeah, this is a big...
Are we getting the results when we feel like we're putting so much in? What's going on? All
right. So shall we? So am I going to go first on this one?
Yeah, go on.
You warm up. Let me stretch. So, I think there's one of the big things. First of all, for a lot of ladies that we probably work with, is this notion that it's going to be a straight line, that the fat or the weight's just going to go straight down in a straight line. Because you see all these befores and afters, but you don't see the story in between, right? They don't show you the graph of how the weight went up, down, and plateaued for a few weeks, and then it went down again. So the problem is that no one sees that. So you just expect it to be a straight line. And people forget they're human. And that's a real big one for me. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, certainly when you kind of... you make that decision to, seek out a coach to help you get to those changes, whether it's a program or one-to-one or whatever. And it's like you put so much energy into making that decision then that, that excitement, everything else is there. But then that energy starts to disappear, and then you realize that you've got to keep going with this. And like that with our weight, we there's a big association. Obviously, we talk about that a lot, Greg, is that there's like a huge amount of, it's always about our weight. We need to see our weight change, our weight needs to change, and if it doesn't happen, then obviously something wrong. Yeah.
Oh my Lord, my weight hasn't changed for a week or two.
And even worse, it's gone up a little bit.
Oh no, that's it. I'm starting a new diet.
So yeah, and and it's that kind of, that's a big part of probably what the coaching is, with what I know. I seem to talk about it a lot, and I'm sure you do. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Greg, but that we do tend to find ourselves having to unpick that sort of thought process a lot, don't we, that people have. And that's because past experiences and their previous history, whether quite a lot have been through sort of slimming clubs and that. So there is a big focus on your body weight when it comes to them.
Oh, so much.
So yeah, so seeing that change, and you want to see it, and when you get it, you get a good buzz about it, you get a good feeling, and you want to keep getting it, don't you? So you get addicted to getting more and more and more of the same. So when you don't get it, it's a total head melt. You're like,
Oh.
didn't see that. Why? I haven't done anything different. Why is it not changed? No, I want to ask you a question to that point. Your thoughts on, now sometimes, you know, I've kind of twisted this a little bit when it comes to body weight, because I was always the factor, listen, whenever I get to that conversation, I go, listen, your choice is at this point, we can either keep doing, so personally in my programs, I do it every 2 weeks. You know, we do a full check-in, not just body weight, every 2 weeks to see how the progression and see what's happening. But I've said, well, you have a choice, either just stop using body weight, stop looking at it, don't do it at all, or do the opposite and just do it every day.
Yeah, it's kind of all or nothing. I like that. That's a good one. So I've been using weekly weigh-ins with measurements, and I think that's the key point, is measurements, and then I do pictures ideally every 4 weeks. But on one group of my clients at the minute, we haven't checked in with weight for about 3 or 4 months. I've just stopped it because ultimately it becomes irrelevant to the goal that they actually really want.
Yeah.
So I think people come to us with, I want to hit this on the scale, when you really question them, actually what they want is to be able to get into a new dress, to be able to run after the kids, to have toned arms, to lose belly fat, whatever that is. That's the real reason. So actually, does the scale stop you from getting into the dress? No. So actually, why are we focusing on the weight so much when it's about changing body composition, etc., etc., etc.?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think also what you said is about weighing daily really does actually get people to understand the daily fluctuations in weight, and that it's not fat gain. Like, you didn't gain fat overnight. It just doesn't happen. So yeah. I like your approach.
So yeah, and that makes a few people stop and think, because they feel like it's become all consuming, and I'm like, well, just educate yourself. If your body's changing that much, see how much it changes from day to day.
Yeah.
Know what your body is doing. Yeah.
It's a really weird one, right? And you I'll ask you this, is ladies always talk about hormones and stuff, right? So it's always this big, it's my hormones, and my hormones are doing this. But it's then when they don't get the result or the change that they think they should see, the hormones automatically get forgotten. I don't know, do you see that? It's just like, it's all hormones. I forgot about hormones now. It's just so weird. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. And it's like, of course it impacts. We know it impacts your weight. Like, it's, you know, between fluid retention, even just not, you know, digestively, you don't, you know, get rid of food waste and things as easily certain times of the month, and others, you know, that impacts women too. Bloatedness, you know, all those sorts of things. Yeah, that all happens. And that can, you know, that can make you feel, you know, like you're heavier than what you are usually. You probably are a little bit as well. So, but it becomes more a thing at a certain age, I think.
Okay. Tell me more. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, it does. And again, it's now because there's more talk and more openness around about, well, up until maybe a couple of years ago, I've started to hear about perimenopause. And I never knew of that. Like, that's not something you get taught in school about this perimenopause. I'm not quite sure when this terminology came around.
Did they even talk about menopause, to be honest? Like, I think they kind of glossed over it in biology. It was like, yeah, puberty, have sex.
You get to this point and then it changes. And then it goes away.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, so when there's more talk of it, it's, you know, and the more you read into it and the more you get focused on it, the more you maybe think it's almost like a self-diagnosis, you know. It's like, oh, that's what's wrong with me. Bam, you stuck a label on there. So, you know, this is going to, this is going to impact this is going to make it harder to lose weight, this is going to make it harder to do all these things. So So subconsciously, you're telling yourself that this is going to be hard. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? I wrote a post on that this morning. Oh, like the amount of self-talk that we attach to this. Oh, it's going to be so hard. Yeah. It's going to be so hard. Well, like when you really boil it down, and it's harder. I guess it's hard. I say I'd used it. It's for us. Obviously, we've kind of grown up, and this is our profession. This is what we do. I think for a lot of ladies, so they've almost put the weight on. They've always got this weight of it's hard already on their shoulders. Mm-hmm. So of course it's going to be hard. When actually, you just need to just stop worrying about it being hard. And if you just got on with it, you'll be there already, right? So
yeah,
you use this word hard as it's like an anchor. So it's like you're trying to set sail, but you've got the anchor of hard in the ocean.
Yeah. Dragging it through the sand. Yeah. I think, yeah. And it's a good point. I guess, well, I don't want to say I guess, no, it's because I think women then carry a lot of the, you know, managing the house, managing the family, managing everything else. So if it feels like there's more I've got to do, you know, when in actual fact, there's probably a lot of stuff you need to get rid of because your energy is just, being exasperated basically because you keep taking all this stuff on that you feel that you have to do. So when in actual fact, you know, I think we've talked about this on podcasts before, but you know, who's put that expectation on there? So another thing that comes to looking and focusing on yourself then, that needs, you know, that's mentally, that's even harder because you've got to, you know, got to be kind of open and vulnerable about what it is that's going on for you. So, you know, being honest. So, whereas you've probably gotten into a point where you've just got, you know, manage this, manage that, manage the other things. So you've just carried on with that sort of that role, if you like. So
yeah, we wear that cloak, and I think sometimes we use busyness as a shield against actually just stopping and looking at what we do. So often I'll get ladies messaging me going, oh, I want to lose weight, but I'm so busy. So again, it's like another block they've already put in. When actually, like you said, it's often just doing less. And you do less to get more, but that's why you hire us to, you know, unclutter your heads, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the fitness seems to be, and getting in shape seems to be, people feel it has to be, you've got to train 7 times a week on top of looking after the kids, getting the house tidied, all that stuff, going to work and all that stuff. When actually, for most people, is actually, if you did less hoovering, like no one's checking out your house every day. It's not cribs. Like, I think this is a real big one. Obviously, I'm a man, but we get so emotionally attached to cleaning. Like, seriously. I'm like, how many times do you clean this week? Oh, I've cleaned every day. Why?
Clean every day?
Trust me, do you know how many ladies I've coached and it's like, well, I've got to clean my house every day. And I'm like, look, you're not on cribs. Don't worry. MTV aren't coming round. Yeah, but I just have to. I'm like, do you remember a program called Keeping Up Appearances?
Yeah.
Mrs. Bucket and the husband. Yeah, it's this keeping up this appearance that you're super mum or superwoman because your house is always tidy.
Like, I have to say, like, I do, well, obviously I'm just myself and my husband, so I don't have kids or anything, so, but I just get rid of a load of stuff. If I have to clean it, I have to question whether I really want it or not, you know?
Like, cleaning must be the most boring thing in the world, like, seriously. But yet we make something like cleaning the almost the high point of our lives. Seriously, like, yeah, I've got to do the cleaning today. It's really important. Really? Sorry, yeah. Really gets me.
Yeah, we're getting a bit off topic here. No. So yeah, but it lends itself to the kind of the the constant self-talk, the stories that we tell ourselves, and keeping us, and it's like that when it comes to, whenever going through the transformation, we're getting results, we're starting to see things moving, but then all of a sudden things don't move. You maybe hit that plateau, and it's kind of, we do get a sense there's almost a trend, isn't it, Greg? It's like, the first kind of 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks, things are ticking along, and then there's a bit of a straight line, hit a plateau, and then things might start to decline a little bit, in terms of results, or just not moving in the way, or even not necessarily just the physical results, but in terms of the interaction of that person, in terms of the communication from them, even how they're talking, how they're speaking, energetically, they're just distant, or, backing away. So have you had that experience yourself? And just,
Yeah, so I've got pretty good over the last few years of calling people out on it. I'm just like, oi, are you okay? And often then you get this thing of, oh, well, I've got this going on, I've got this going on, I've got this going on, etc. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Is it stopping you from going for a walk? Is it stopping you from? And what happens is we get so tied up in all of this other stuff that we just abandon ourselves. And you've read The Big Leap. Yeah, so this is, and do you know what's funny? It always happens as people are getting results. It's really weird. So it's like they're doing really well, they're consistently getting results. Then all of a sudden, all of this other stuff comes on top. And I think in The Big Leap, and you'll probably have some thoughts on this, I think a lot of it is, I'm getting results, but this feels too good and too easy. So I'm going to self-sabotage by getting myself involved in this, and this, and this, to stop doing the things that I need to do that are getting me the happiness I want.
Yeah. It's like you just take the brakes off, or you say, overconfidence sometimes. That's a term that I would even probably, I can relate to myself. Actually, you get to thought, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. It's fine, I've got that. Yeah, it's all up there, it's fine. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, why didn't that work? Why didn't I get the results that I wanted? So, and it's those sorts of behaviors that that are harmless, but are actually then impacting you. And again, I know this all sounds a bit, getting into behavior and psychology, but it's those little subconscious thoughts that you have. You think, oh, it's all right, you've got this, you know what you're doing, and it's that complacency kicks in, doesn't it?
Well, I think because we both delve into that psychology and the mindset stuff and all the rest of it, because if I'm honest, for most of the ladies that I coach, getting in shape is not about the training per se. It's not about, it's not even about nutrition. It's actually about how they feel about themselves. Because once that kicks into gear, then the other stuff is easy. But I think that's why we coach rather than just do personal training and set exercise and reps, because you have to deal with the head stuff first, or else nothing else really matters. That's just my thought. Anyway.
Absolutely. So, yeah, and that's one kind of question that comes up when we spoke about identity in the last podcast, was around about, it's about the person that you want to become, isn't it? It's about who that is, and that's where we tap into to get really clear and specific on what that is. Yep. Like people in business that talk about their ideal client, so what's that person look like? And that we hear that a lot, don't we? So yeah, but same with our own, the same with the women that we work with, and that's what we're tapping into, and that's what I think a lot of people either don't expect to get, or have never been asked before.
Yeah. I think when people come to work with me or you, they think they're going to get an exercise program and a meal plan. And I'm like, I'm not about that. That's not what you came to someone like me or you for. They came to us to change their life, not workouts, because you've done all the workouts and look where it's got you. So yeah, I'll be honest, and I'll speak for me as one half of this podcast. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to speak for you too. You come to us for a transformation, not a meal plan and a workout. Like, you want to meal plan the workout. Plenty of people will give that to you, but that's why you failed before.
Absolutely. It's trying to fix the problem. I have a weight loss problem, or I have a weight problem, therefore I just need a solution. So it's trying to fix it in that way. So whereas in actual fact it's not. I listened to a great podcast actually recently, and it was all about actually weights and accumulation, isn't it? On the physical sense, it's accumulation of excess calories over time, but also on an emotional level as well. It's an accumulation of not feeling worthy, not feeling confident, not feeling, or feeling inadequate in some way, whatever that is for that person. So, and it's kind of built up into an accumulation of that, and then into the physical sense over time. Yeah, I thought it was a great way of thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that actually. I think there are two words though that we often use as coaches that you might do something very similar, but there's two words that anyone listening to this can use, and I'm happy to give it away. And often, like you said earlier, about people think they've got everything locked down in their heads. Oh yeah, Greg, I'm eating well. I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I'm like, okay, show me. For those who are listening, I'm looking around the room waiting for someone to show me. And yeah, that's the real test. Like, when I go climbing, and if someone can't go climbing, and the person that couldn't climb says, "Oh, did you have a good climb?" Then it's like, yeah, it's a really good climb. Where's the video?
Yeah. Didn't happen unless there's a picture.
If there's no evidence, it didn't happen. Yeah. I think I learned that from How to Get Away with Murder. That's it. Awesome program.
All right.
You can't prove a crime.
Trying to get away with murder.
Shh. Don't tell anybody. It's our secret. But I think, you can't prove something happened if there's no evidence of it. Yeah. So I think people, if they give themselves the show me test, then it will be really apparent why they potentially aren't getting the results. And that's why they disengaged after that initial buzz. Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. It just, and then it kind of starts as maybe just one or two things, and then it then compounds. So, like getting changes or getting results or creating habits, it's the compound of the little things over time that get you there, but it's the same going backwards. It's the little things that make the biggest change, whether it's the way that you want or the way that you don't want, so that's why it's like, because it's frustrating. You think it's going to be something really big and obvious, but sometimes it's going back to those, back to basics. Let's look at this, like you say, show me what's going on, show me what, send pictures of, even of your plates and things like that there. Let me see what's happening. And even just being that extra level of accountability, as you said, just sometimes just kicks you back in again, and starts to get things moving for you again. So, well, I had a client, we had a call, actually on Monday this week, and she was like, Greg, I don't know what's going on. I've been at a plateau for 3 or 4 weeks, but I'm tracking my food and So I said, all right, great. Send me all your meals for today and just put your hand by the plate. So I want to just put your hand at the same level as the plate. And then I got 2 meals over and I said, right, let's talk about size of portions. I said, how much is that? And I think it was like potatoes or something. I was like, how much potatoes you got there? And she was like, look at your hand and then look at the potatoes. Oh. So like you say, these little things, these little slips, what's the other one? Bite, licks and chews. Bite, licks and chews, yeah. The LCs, they're killers. Just taking some food off little Johnny's plate. It's okay, While I'm cooking, I'm just tasting the recipe. You've got to make sure it's okay, right? Yeah. And that's even from, wasn't it, Susan that we took? Oh, yes. She brought that out, the bites, licks and the chews. And yeah, she said the
the little just misdemeanors. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, those little incidentals, isn't it? That just happened.
It's the little white lies. There you go. I call it the little white lies. Oh, I just had a little bit. Oh, the 2 biscuits I had, today. I had 2 biscuits with my coffee just in my little break. Oh, okay. 140 calories later.
Yeah, so it is down to those, and that's what you can do. So you just have to, for as long as you get that frustration, you get annoyed, you think nothing's happening. Yeah, what's the point? That sort of whole spiral of thoughts start to happen. And you really just have to stop and pull yourself out of it, because one, it's like, how helpful is to your goal having those thoughts?
Yep.
Is it gonna keep you moving further away from it, or is it, or can you revert it? It's not gonna, and I say that rhetorically, but obviously it's not gonna, those thoughts are not gonna help you get back to where you want to go. So and that's just one thing to do, is just stop. You got to stop and aware of those thoughts, and just cut that, stop. Okay, go, right, okay, thoughts are done. Let's leave them there. Let's not spend any more time there. We need to get back on track.
Well, I think you just raised a really good point, because there's a book, Chimp Paradox it's called, I think, and it just talks about animal brain or chimp brain versus the logical brain. And I think the animal stroke chimp brain gets really, is really powerful. It's all that emotion, it's all that. And it can easily draw you back to that place where, oh, I'm comfortable down here, not the person I want to be. So you start glass ceiling, as I think you used with a client the other day. Oh, don't go too high. Don't lose too much weight. Oh, this can't be that easy. I've got to go and do carb cycling with keto, veganism, because it needs to be harder. But that is just self-sabotage. That is just you just shooting your foot. Is what that is, I think.
Other one, yeah, like I said, is women that I have recently, they just wanted to start running. So out comes the couch to 5K to start running, because they feel like they have to do more. There has to be more. So, which is okay, fine, but don't have to do it. You don't have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to him, unless you want to be a runner, then okay, go ahead. If you want to be a runner, you want to get good at running, go for it. But if you're just doing it because you need to do more, then just be careful that you're just not trying to, person yourself, or just doing more because you feel you should. And then, like you say, you'll hit that glass ceiling, then something will happen. An injury will creep. You'll get an egg or whatever, And
then you'll go, oh, stuff it, I'll wait till after the school holidays.
Yeah.
That though, you just made me think of a really good point there, and now it's gone. I hate when you do that. I'm blaming you for my own memory, by the way. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. That's a really good point. Actually, that was it. So I guess I liken it to, you've got a headache. And what do people do? What do people do when they get a headache? Paracetamol, yeah. Paracetamol, ibuprofen. Then they get a headache the next week. What do? Have a paracetamol. And I think we're so used to just fixing the immediate pain, rather than going to the root cause of, well, why do I keep reaching for paracetamol when actually I need an eye test, or I'm always stressed, or I'm not sleeping well. But I think that's the thing. If you're going to come and work with any of us, you have to not want to keep popping painkillers. You have to go to let's fix the problem. Let's stop the headaches altogether, rather than just easing the pain. I think that's where we come in. And I think that's why people do get stuck, because they try and do things like the couch to 5K, because it's a paracetamol. It's a bit of a dopamine hit. Well, if I start running, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Because, like maybe weighing my food, or going to sleep on time, or going for a daily walk I'm not doing those anymore. So I have to find something to replace it, because I feel comfortable that if I'm going harder, I'm doing better.
Yeah. I'm doing more than what I was before, so therefore
Yeah.
yeah, I'll get back on track quicker.
Yeah, if I run. Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, but it's those hard questions that we can ask people that I think people can't ask themselves. And until they can do that, that's where you need someone else in your life.
Yeah. Totally. Like us.
Yeah, like I tell you what, this is how it is. It's like Mr. Miyagi. I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere, people.
Oh yeah. Go on. Give
Well,
it to me.
all right, here's the Karate Kid analogy that I think everybody needs to understand. So Karate Kid, he gets kicked, he gets his ass kicked, and then all of a sudden he goes to little Japanese man, because it's karate, it's Japanese.
Yeah.
So all he teaches him to do is wax on, wax off, wax on. But he thinks he needs to learn to fight.
Yeah.
But what he's got him doing is wax on, wax off, wax, paint the fence, sweep the floor, sweep the floor. And actually it's practice so that when the punch does come, I blocked.
Yeah.
Because you've done it so many times. So it's that same repetition of, okay, I know what my meal sizes should look like because I've done it so many times. I now know that is 15 grams of peanut butter that I've got on my plate, not 28 grams of peanut butter. There you go.
Exactly. And it is that, and that's to that point I just made as well about the looking for a weight loss. So like that, he wanted to learn how to fight, but he actually taught him how to defend, didn't he? So
exactly,
not looking for the solution. You want to fight, therefore you need to teach me how to fight. No, I'll teach you how to defend and how to block. And it's kind of like lending itself. I am going somewhere myself here with this. It is lending itself to the fact that instead of looking for a weight loss solution or a weight loss, what you want to think about is who is the person that you want to be. Yeah.
Yep.
And then what are the things that person does, and do them.
Yeah. So
that's
if I want guns, I want arms like Susan, I need to train like Susan, not start doing couch to 5K. Is that what you're saying?
You need to start picking up weights, yes.
Right, made me feel bad. I can start
I haven't picked up a weight in months. No, that's not true. The odd kettlebell, but that's about it. But yeah, much like that it's around about, if you want to be fit and strong and have energy and confidence and think, what does a person who is fit and strong, what are they doing? So go and see what that person is doing and do what they're doing. So, and what they're saying and how they're thinking and everything else. So
I can't agree with you more there.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I helped some of the ladies get over it. If you hit those kind of blocks and those obstacles and get frustrated, before you put the brakes on and think things aren't working, just stop and ask yourself, like, am I doing everything that a person who is healthier, stronger, fitter, whatever that goal is for you, am I doing everything that they would be doing? What I associate with a person who is like that.
Yeah, I think all these people in the world that we think are great at whatever they do. So let's take Usain Bolt, because he's one of my idols. I think I've watched him run, and I know his coach would have gone, that race, he didn't run as fast. And they'll watch it back, and often it will be something really basic like foot position on the blocks. It wasn't that he didn't run fast, he didn't start fast. So they go back, and what they'll do is they'll just drill the start. And I remember when I used to sprint many moons ago. If I did it now, I'd tear my hamstrings, I reckon. Although Stephen Aish, who's been on the podcast before, said I should get into it again. So maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it's just going back to you hit that, you do that start, and it's going back to the basics. Because the basics always win.
Yeah.
Every time, without fail.
Yeah.
Time.
So So that's what we've got to do, is just, and it's just having someone there to remind you and just let you go back and focus on those things, because on your own, you would just probably stop. Or like you said, Greg, you would just turn and look for something else. Oh, that works for someone else, and you'll go and do that for the next 3, 4, 6 weeks or whatever. And then, inevitably probably hit the same, going, oh, I'm doing all this and nothing else is changing, so that's why having someone obviously to help you to talk it through and to just basically to just show you that, give you that different perspective, isn't it? So
it's why the best people have coaches, right? All of the best people in the world, or what they do, have a coach. Singers have a vocal coach, and maybe a choreographer as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gymnasts have a coach. Actors have an acting coach. It's crazy how we do this thing of, I want to be great, but I'm going to try and do it alone.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a team. We if anything, lockdown has shown us how humans have to work together. But yet we try and change our bodies alone.
Yeah, exactly. It's just giving you that direction, isn't it? Because the compass goes a little bit screwy sometimes, so we just have to put you back on the right track again.
Exactly. Or call you out on your BS, or get you to get, hey, I told you a couple of days ago that I cried on my little weekend away with my coach, and it was just like, wow. But I think that needed to happen to kind of get me to go forward again.
Yeah.
It's painful at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay now. I'm good. I'm glad I got it out. Yeah.
I'm comfortable, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I like that.
Yeah. There you go. Absolutely. Nice one.
So,
well, I think we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, I think let's leave that one right there. So, to anyone listening, leave a review on Apple if you do. Share this. Subscribe, actually. I've had a lot of people actually say they don't know what to do. So I'm like, look, go into the podcast and hit subscribe. And you get it as soon as we upload them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so hit subscribe, share it and stuff. Cool.
No, thanks very much, everyone.
Yeah,
hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that was a tasty one. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Take care, people.
All right. See you there.
See you later. Bye-bye.